All right, awesome. So this is going to be the first and probably last episode of Why the fuck doesn't this video essay exist in the first place?
Why does it
The
exist?
I know, right? It's where I find a instance of media that I think is awesome and want to introduce to someone else, but there does not seem to be a YouTube video about it for whatever reason, and I, in a very angry state, have to be the one to bring it into existence.
Someone's got to do it.
I know, right? It's an incredible responsibility. So, Frank, I've invited you on to talk about this because I know this is a piece of media that you also really enjoyed way back in the day. I will give you a hint. It is a comic book. If you had to
Okay.
guess which specific issue of a comic, do you think I would have invited you on to do an episode of Why the fuck doesn't this video essay exist?
Probably the greatest comic book we've ever read, or at least the
Okay.
one I've ever read, involving a very dark, pasty figure that they eventually made a Netflix series about.
You're close, but no, it's not that series. All right, I'll give you one
No,
more
not
guess.
that one.
It's not that series.
Okay. Is it
Make
the
it
one
quick.
that
I don't want to make have this segment last too long, but I bet you could make a guess.
is it the one that I've read a million
Yeah,
times?
probably.
With John Constantine,
Yeah, there. Is there one particular
Hellblazer,
issue that maybe sticks out to you in your memory?
the one with the monkey.
You're damn right. It's the one with the monkey. It's issue number 64 of Hellblazer.
Arguably the
Yes.
greatest chapter of the 300 book series.
I know where he tries to fuck a monkey, and
Well, I don't know if that
you know
happens.
we'll get into it a little bit.
Okay.
So just based on memory, I actually went and bought this comic book. It's in really good condition, actually. I was like, it didn't need to be in this good a condition. Thank you, whoever sent this to me. What do you remember from this issue specifically?
I've read that one so many times.
Mhm.
I remember that it was an incredibly well crafted comedic episode in an otherwise dark and ghastly tale of John Constantine,
Mhm.
kind of a flashback to when he was younger and first becoming closely acquainted with his best friends and kind of assistant Chaz Chandler,
Mhm.
where he moves into his mother's house for a little while and wild monkey related antics ensue.
That's actually a pretty good synopsis. So I started taking notes on this, and then I was like, "This is probably never going to happen. We're never going to do this." But here's just what I actually wrote down, basically. So it starts with Chaz being or picking up John at the airport, right? He says that he's coming in with bloodstained packages from Haiti, and that was incredibly hard to get through customs. Um, let's see, and he can't take him where he needs to go. Oh, wait, no, John is smoking a cigarette. He wants to smoke a cigarette, and he asks Chaz for one, and Chaz is like, "I haven't smoked in like 10 years, John." So John just like opens up the used cigarette portion of his car and just starts smoking one. And Chaz is just like, "Jesus Christ, what are you doing, man?" And he says, "Needs must as the devil drives," which is a really good expression. Have you ever heard that before?
Needs must.
Needs must as the devil
Not
drives.
anytime recently.
All right, it just means there's an overwhelming force of circumstance. It's something that you don't want to do, but you have no choice, apparently, based on what I looked up as soon as I read that line. It comes from the 15th century, apparently. I want to do like a little linguistic segment, but like I said, I didn't really get that deep into it. But that would be a
Okay.
cool tattoo, right? Needs must as the devil drives.
That would be a pretty
I
good
mean,
tattoo.
the devil's driving. You gotta do what you gotta do, right? Your needs still need to be met.
What needs does the devil normally drive for you, Steve?
I mean, I don't know,
Oh, here we go. There's one right there.
right? No,
That
um,
sweet juice.
right. And I mean, the other like English slang that I had down here was "sling his bloody hook," which means to leave or go away. It's a nautical saying, meaning like take up your anchor, put your anchor on a hook because you got to go. And there's another one he uses that I'm sure you remember a lot of, and throughout the series it says "struth."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
God's truth.
always admired his all right squire.
Mm-hmm. Right? Oh, yeah, that's a good one too.
as he made an entrance.
Hmm.
I always found myself looking up these old English songs, like old pub drinking songs that they would always be singing in the comics, and they would only have a line or two of a song that he'd be drunkenly rambling down the street and singing along. And I always was curious to know what songs those were because you don't hear those anymore.
True. I mean, the one like vignette that I remember like sticking out from like the entire series in my mind was when they were doing mushrooms in that trailer with those hippies, and he was just someone puts on Lee Scratch Perry, and he's just like, "Oh, this is black magic that you guys aren't ready for," and he just throws the record out of the window. I think that's a pretty good description of Lee Scratch Perry.
Oh yeah,
No
oh
one's ready
yeah.
for that kind of black magic,
No one's ready to go deep on the Lee Scratch Perry.
right?
That was
So,
such a good chapter, though.
mhm.
Just absolute comedic gold. Like
Mhm.
I was it NS, I think, one of the writers for that era,
Um, I
like
think
Garth
I think he
Ennis or
did write
something.
some issues. This
I
one
can't
was
remember.
written by Jamie Delano and Sean Phillips.
Oh
It
yeah,
appears.
Jamie Delano. Yeah,
Mhm.
he was that era of Hellblazers was one of the absolute best.
Now that you
Um,
mention it, I should look that up. Was Garth Ennis on Hellblazer? I really should have been more prepared for this. I should have had my phone. I think so at some point.
I think at some
But
point, if I
anyway.
got the name right.
Hmm. So anyway, he picks up John at the airport, and he's just like, "So can you take me to wherever it was he needs to go?" And he's like, "Well, I can, but I got to pick up my wife and daughter first. She's like giving birth. So you're gonna get to meet her. I'm gonna drop you off at the house. I'm gonna go get her." And he's just like, "Holy shit!" So he's starts to reminisce about the Hell House here. He's just like, "Yeah, this is where Queenie used to live with her familiar Slag." Yeah.
Slag, good old
Hmm.
Slag.
Yeah, here
Show
he
them,
is
show the
walking through
Slag.
the house. Well, here's Slag right on the cover.
Oh yeah,
Hmm. Slag and drag. And yeah, he just walks through the house. And it's never really made clear if Queenie actually is like a magic practitioner, but it's heavily implied, right? Like
yeah. I don't know what
she's
kind of magic, but some
hmm
kind of dirty, foul, kind
she's
of
just
like an ugly old hag
hmm
witch magic.
I mean, she's just like become one with the darkness that she's like allowed to creep into her life basically in like a
She used
very
to
masterful
do,
kind of way.
didn't she used to do seances or
Yes,
something?
that is actually kind of where we're going. Where is there is a part where it's like, oh yeah, and then she would do seances for money. And here you can see like the guy like coming back from the war or whatever.
Hmm.
And so yeah, I mean she has like yeah, it says let me read it, I guess. She'd already stopped doing the abortions. I guess that was also how she made money. She was just like an alcoholic doing abortions, back alley abortions. She stopped doing the abortions, but she still had a good business with the charms, love spells, baby making potions, limp prick pills to keep the old man quiet, and the seances. For 30 bob a time, she'd let them gossip with dead relatives. She specialized in widows whose blokes were killed in the war.
She was
So yeah, and then
basically
he
bedridden. She never really left the her bedroom.
mm-hmm. Right. And it's like even she kind of I think it's implied that even she thought she was like just fucking around and like, ripping people off, but she was just tapping into something like a little darker that kind of like ended up taking over the house, taking over her life.
Just
Like
foul.
the next couple of panels, he's just like, I thought they burned all the witches in the Middle Ages. And then he said, I wish to God they have fucking had, John. She made my life sheer bloody hell. Squatting up there for 10 years like some big cold toad, making me fetch and carry for her and keep her clean. Well, you could have done a better job there, mate, John replies. Because yeah, it's noted that she smells really bad. Like the whole thing is just the smelliest thing you can imagine. And it just keeps getting fouler and madder. Nobody comes anymore. They're too scared now. They used to use her to frighten the kids. Behave or I'll send you up to Queenie's castle. Anyway, yeah, so he made her a slave, or she made him a slave, basically. Like she had her own kid, like doing like really all of her footwork, going from place to place. Oh, and yeah, I know we mentioned that she has a monkey. I guess the monkey was like tormenting him throughout his like childhood. And at one point, it's mentioned, if I remember correctly, he like is losing his virginity. He brings a girl over, and then the monkey like sticks its finger in his ass, and then she runs away because the monkey smells so bad.
Yeah, the monkey kind of interrupts
Mm-hmm.
their coitus
Mm-hmm.
and jumps on his back and starts riding them like a like a
Oh
like
yeah, I
a
think let me see if I
mule.
can find the actual let me see the actual line. Oh yeah, and
And
she also killed his father apparently, and like no one
oh
ever looked
yeah,
into it.
it just drove his. Oh, didn't she make it look like an accident, like he fell down the stairs or something?
Yep, that seems to be what it was. Yeah.
Anytime Chaz would try to escape and go to the bar, the monkey would
It would just go to the
follow
bar
him
and make it smell really bad
and
until
make a
everyone
big
else left.
awful magical stink, just a
Mm-hmm.
foul air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And here's the bleeding monkey riding him like a horse. Yeah, there it is.
Hold up a little higher.
Uh, can you see it?
Get it. Show us a good picture of the mother with the monkey in the room.
The mother with the
Oh, and the
monkey.
moment that the monkey talks to John and he
Oh,
freaks
right.
out
He's just yeah.
and he's like, that monkey can talk, and she's like, no, of course he can.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time flipping around here. I really should have studied this more. But yeah, I mean, I think you remember it better than I do, and I read it not too long ago. Here it is. Here's here's some of the stills. Can you see it?
Move it to your yeah. There we go. The
Mm-hmm.
bedroom picture. Yeah. Anyway, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Good scene.
Anyway, so then she basically he's John moves in with them because I mean he's just bumming around. He's just getting into magic at this point, just going from place to place, and he's just like, well, this is fine. And he also mentions that like his friend Chaz is like in love with him, kind of, or he's always felt that. So he's just like, yeah, I can take advantage of him and move into his mom's house, whatever. And like he would be like in his debt forever. He could just get rid of the fucking monkey. So um oh, here's an interesting line. And it wasn't that easy for me either. Basic magic principle. There's always a price. I had to get off with the bleeding monkey. Yeah, that's his plan basically. He's gonna make the monkey want to fuck him and use that against the monkey.
Yeah, he
So,
basically tricked the spirit animal,
mm,
seduced it because otherwise it would never come close enough to kill it. Like
mm,
he could never get it within arm's reach.
yeah, exactly right. Yeah, let me see. And oh yeah, he like writes I love you on the window. Or no, he writes I love slag on the window here. Let me see if you can see that one. I love slag.
Yeah,
Monkey's name
he
being
pretends to
slag.
be all heartbroken over the
Hmm.
monkey.
Yeah, because the
You know,
monkey doesn't love him back.
well, it's playing hard to get. It's very sly, very
Yeah,
mischievous.
the very next panel, it's like putting a wig and like lipstick on. Right? So I made myself sob in the night while she sat outside giggling, getting off on my misery, he says. Um, yeah, anyway, then he like finally he's like pretending to be suicidal and like he's gonna drown himself in the river. And then the monkey Slag goes up behind him and just finally touches him. And then he chokes her to death.
Drowns her. Yeah,
Yeah, he drowns her in the
finally
river.
finally gets her close.
Hmm. Yeah, and then it basically ends with him meeting Chaz's family, like the his wife and their child, and he's just like, please don't name the child Queenie. Anything but Queenie.
Anything
Yeah,
but
all right.
Queenie.
Impressions. It's fairly short. It's a really good introduction to Constantine as a character and Chaz and their relationship and how that started and how he
Yeah,
even got into magic to some degree.
there's so much wonderful backstory introduced in
Hmm.
that saga. So
Hmm.
much character development. I think that's the biggest reason why anyone would be a fan of Hellblazer is it's very character driven. I mean, plot driven, not so much. There are better books and chapters than others as far as how the plot goes. But the entire series, no matter who the writer was, it really focused on the character development of John and all the other people involved.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
And
yeah,
it was a
needs
good
must as the
mix.
devil drives,
Yeah, it
right?
was a good mixture of horror and suspense and comedy and love and like wholesomeness and brutal, awful heartbreak and that all those things.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Um, but yeah,
So you just
like
say
you said,
that's
it
your
is like all
favorite.
character driven. Like it's almost like there are a lot of like stories that could be like standalone. You don't really even need to have go from the beginning. Like this would be a good starting point, I think, for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, yeah. If they want something to be introduced, because to really know the entire saga, you'd have to start with the Swamp Thing.
Hmm.
But this would be one of the many, like you said, standalone, because there's a lot of stories within Hellblazer that are kind of parts 1 through 5 or 6. But that
Hmm.
one, I believe, was a standalone.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's really before he gets into like too much magic stuff, and he never really is like the dark wizard that he portrays himself to be, except in like that alternate reality where he has like a twin brother or whatever who is like the real dark wizard. He's
He's
just like,
just the
yeah, he's just a guy.
yeah, he's just a guy doing his
Mm-hmm.
best. He's an imperfect human. He makes a very imperfect human. I mean, he is not without his flaws. He's a tragic hero.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't really ask. Well, in a
He kind
way,
of
I
no,
mean,
he definitely did. Like he got
he
into it.
got into
He got in
dark
over his head,
magic.
and he just found out he's better at bluffing than most of the people around him that got in just as deep.
He's a bullshit artist, is what he
Yeah, exactly.
is. Um, but that's what makes him lovable. He's not your Superman or Batman type that most of the time gets it done
Hmm.
right. He's just extremely imperfect, very flawed, broken, very broken kind of person
Also willing to use
with
other
good
people and throw under
also,
other people under the bus.
yeah. But generally with good intentions in mind,
Hmm.
but often resulting in awful consequences.
It's almost kind of like a Breaking Bad kind of story where every time he gets ahead, like he just gets a little in deeper, and he's like, "Next time I'm gonna get away from it real soon," you know.
He always tells himself that, but
Hmm.
something always happens and gets caught up in it again.
Hmm.
In a way, his life is often a metaphor for like an addiction. They use
Hmm.
magic addiction as a metaphor for drug addiction or other addictions.
As well as actual drug addiction for John.
Actual,
What needs
yeah,
must as the devil drives, right?
indeed, indeed.
Hmm. That would have been a good name for the issue. I don't think this issue had a name, or if it did, it's not on the go. Oh, in another part of hell. That's what it is the actual title of this particular issue. Just not on the cover, it's on the first page.
Yeah.
In another part of hell. So if we actually put this on YouTube, I can make that the title as well.
So where do you want to go from here? Are you just coming up with random topics?
I don't know. I mean, I just wanted to introduce Kristen to like this particular issue, and I was like, surely someone has made like some kind of video essay on YouTube or something going into what it's about, and no, they sure haven't, which pissed me off
You
because I
gotta
didn't
you
want to
gotta
do it.
gotta add your 2 cents to the zeitgeist.
I guess. Yeah, and like that same week, I came up with like three other ideas for it, and I have forgotten all of them. So we'll see.
Write them
We'll
down.
see. All right, but anyway, that's Hellblazer issue 64 in another part of hell. Um, Let me just thumb through it real quick, see if there's anything else worth mentioning. Any cool stills, blah blah blah. I don't know. Too bad I'm not good at video editing, or I could cut this part out and add other parts on. Maybe one day. Um, you want to see more monkey?
Yeah. Get us a good
Yeah,
look at the monkey.
yeah. That's a monkey. Yep, that's Slag. I think we're dragging this out too much. I'll stop recording now. But that was good. That was hold on. How do I stop recording? Uh-oh.